Coach, this is a status game or something more important for your team and Zaragoza as well?
Sure. The game is important, especially when you lost the last game after it's a first loss on official game this season for my new team, and it's important I show what my team react about that. And the second thing is important because you can have a finish by a win, and it's important for the club, for the city, and for our team because it's really better when you finish with a win than lost, and you have a bronze medal. It's a good thing. It will be a good thing for us.
How difficult is for a coach to keep his players motivated after a loss for the game that would get them to the final?
Like I explained to my player, this season you will play 2 or 3 games by week. It's really important. After the win or lost, you really focus on the next game. Sure, everybody is really sad and disappointed after the loss against Burgos, but now it's a new game. The most important thing, you forgot that for really focus on the next one.
And as a man who lives with basketball, you're obviously going to see the final. We would like to hear your opinion or your prediction about that.
I'm not really good on a prediction. Just it's a two great team, AEK and Burgos will play the final. Maybe AEK have little more pressure because he play at home even without the fan, and Burgos he have really maybe more experience on the collective thing. I think that it's a tough game, it's a close game, and after I don't know win. It's a great team to win, sure.
Thank you, coach. Have a good game.
Εντάξει, ευχαριστώ.
Coach, you're about to fight in the third game. Coach, you're about to fight for the third place game. Is this a game just for the status, or you can get to better conclusions from that?
It's a game for the habit, to be better every single moment. And then it's not the same win by 2, by 3, lose by 5, by 4. This is a habit that you build every single day. And then we have to be ambitious, very hungry, and to compete as well as we can tonight.
Your player Zigo must have been hurt after the loss against AEK. So how did you try to motivate them to show something different tonight?
Talking about we are playing that whole season, very long season with 2 breaks, summer and Corona, and then we are playing for us, for our fans, for our president, for Casademont, and for the people that cannot be here. For example, 2 guys that they got injured and they cannot be here, and we play for these people, and then have to play as hard as we can.
Any update on the status of Rashid Suleiman injury?
We don't know exactly, and then we have to wait tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we're gonna make another test, and we will see. But we don't have exactly diagnostic until yet.
And we would like to hear your opinion about the game of the final. The one is a Spanish team, and the other team is the one that you fight against in the semi-final.
I think they're gonna compete a lot, because Burgos, they are playing with a lot of confidence from the pre-season until Friday night, and then they are playing very well. They have 2-pointers, they have the control and they generate. They are scoring very good from the 3-pointers, and they have very good finisher in the 5 position. And then, but in another hand, we have AEK that they have confidence, they play very hard and have experience, and then I hope a very competitive game.
Thank you, coach. Have a good game.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Athens, Greece. This is the Basketball Champions League Final 8, and we are now going to have the third place game between JDA Dijon and Casademont Zaragoza. Both of these teams had outstanding campaigns in the 2019-2020 Basketball Champions League, and they want to cap it off with a win. It's always better to leave an event on the back of a win. Here you see where both of them, how they performed. Both won on opening day in their quarterfinals, but Dijon fell to Burgos in the semifinals, and of course Zaragoza were run over by Ike in their last 4 clash. I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Mark Clark. And Mark, at the end of the day, both of these teams have had terrific seasons, and if they can get something out of this, they've already got 1 win, but if they can even leave on the back of a win, that is much better than going home on the back of a defeat.
Oh, absolutely, and you heard both coaches in those interviews, talking about, the need for the fans, the need for the clubs, the whole organization to get the status of being a bronze medalist, the 3rd place team. That's a big deal. I mean, the Basketball Champions League is a huge status event. This roster from Zaragoza that until the loss in the semi-final had done something like 9 straight wins. Obviously, the disappointment of the loss is going to be difficult for them to bounce back from, but they've done a great job getting to this point. They're playing on the last day of the season, not in the game they want to, but they're in the last game of the season. So that's a huge achievement for this club in the Basketball Champions League, as it is for these guys from Dijon who, I think statistically look like they have the edge. And if they can get Holston going, I think they have a real big chance. Although, when they've played each other, Zaragoza historically have the advantage, having won both the games these 2 teams have played previously. This roster for Dijon, has relied heavily on Julien, has relied heavily on Chasson and on David Holston. Holston is the one guy that is, when he sits down, will be disappointed so far in his performances. If he comes to play today, Dijon may have enough to get that bronze medal place.
Yeah, what do you attribute the, shall we say, less than stellar performances for Holston?
Well, I think, Jeff, there's 2 things. One, obviously the pressure of the situation. I wouldn't have said that would be an issue, but teams are keying on him now. And every team has got a way of stopping David Holston playing. And it's not just his points. I mean, he's in the top 3 of assists across the Basketball Champions League season. So it's not just his points. They stop him creating. And if you stop him creating, it really does take a chunk out of the efficiency for Dijon. So, I think it's credit. He gets a big plus at the fact that teams are keying on him. They haven't found a way as a team, or he individually hasn't found a way to get to that, to deal with that pressure of being a focal point for Dijon. The other teams have come up with great strategies and have really shut him down.
Yeah, the other thing really is we are early in the season. You could always say that he's not really, and maybe it takes him a while to get going with respect to a campaign, but then again, everybody's in the same boat. So I think he will be disappointed that he wasn't the outstanding factor that he was on so many occasions, but that is sports. You're not always going to be at 100%, but you look at Zaragoza as well. They were so good on opening or in their opening game, going up and beating the former champions, Iberostar Tenerife, and really the way that Ike came out after them, it was almost as if they had no chance. I mean, that was saying nothing against Zaragoza, but it just seemed like the talent and the effort was just too great in their semifinal.
I would agree. They obviously were on a down, if you want, or their energy levels were less after that huge mental effort to beat the local rival, the ACB rival. And they did run into an Ike team that was so much better in that semi-final than they were on opening night. And they just put out a performance. I'm not sure there's many teams in European basketball that could have lived with Ike playing that way in the semi-final.
Yeah, of all the Basketball Champions League games that I've seen over the years, I have to say that might have been the most comprehensive performance, putting everything together at the right time by Ike. And, if you're an Ike fan, you're hoping that your team has saved something from the final. But Rodrigo San Miguel comes out first, and Barrera, and this experience is going to help them as they go into the Basketball Champions League season, the Spanish Liga Endesa, rather that's coming up. They've already started. They've had 3 games, and the more competition you have, the better off you're going to be.
Jeff, I think for clubs like Zaragoza and to an even greater extent Burgos, they have European aspirations. They want to be at the top table of European basketball, and they want to use that impetus to do well in the ACB. They're in the toughest league, most competitive league in Europe, arguably. So week in, week out, they're going to need the depth of the roster that they've got. but this is where they want to be. So that tough schedule, Zaragoza want to be a European team. They recruit that way, and they're going to be a factor in the regular season. Definitely, they would love to finish with a third-place finish in this year's competition, and they deserve that. They've had to deal with the, like, look, every team has. They've had to deal with the changes of roster, the early season competition. They've had a change of coach, and they've still managed to perform at this high level. That tells you a lot about their organization.
Yeah, well, they will have another chance as well in the Basketball Champions League. It's been a terrific season, and again, yeah, you can't stress highly enough. They may not realize it now, but at the end of this game, the team that wins is going to feel a lot better than the team that loses. So
Absolutely.
they're now being introduced, and we've seen it so many times, Mark. I mean, we've seen it at all the Basketball Champions Leagues. It just kind of lifts some of the burden of that sense of failure that you had in the semifinal, but especially for a team like Zaragoza that really had was really beaten to a pulp, essentially.
You often say it, and I 100% agree. Come finals day, the team that wins the bronze medal game finishes on a win, and they'll go home and think, oh, we'd love to have made the final. But they finish winning, and they'll go back to practice next week, and they've won their last game in the final 8. They're going to be in a very positive place. That'll be great for them working into the next few weeks of the Liga Endesa season. The team that loses this game, and in fact the team that loses the final, they finish on a loss. It's a very mentality. Players are about the game, the moment, and if you've lost the game, you're going to be disappointed either way. So that buzz of winning a game is a real big pickup for either of these teams as they leave Athens and they look back, and it's like, yeah, we're the third-place team. We won our last game. That's a real positive. So going forward, I think both coaches will want a good performance, but both coaches will want the W. And I'm sure that's the sort of level of intensity we're going to see, and definitely going to see it from Axel Julien, who's probably been the leading player for Dijon across this Final 8 competition.
Yeah, I think it really helps. He's been with the team before. He obviously has that experience. He represents his country, and he understands the importance of coming out and playing hard every single night. There was no player that was more disappointed that I can remember at halftime of a semifinal than he was. He really came out and gave it his all, and he'll want to leave on a high. So out of all of these JDA Dijon players, I suppose Casademont seems like he's actually taken another step forward in his career on the evidence of this Final 8. In that opening when Hans van Wijn was really good, here he is. Maybe not so much in the second game, but clearly an intriguing player, and I suppose for him, as it is for many players like Brasino of Zaragoza, it's the issue of consistency, being able to come out and consistently put up big numbers and make a big impact on your team.
Again, Van Wijn has got a great opportunity on this team because his combination with Chasson at the 3 and the 4 spots is going to be fundamental to Dijon's success for this coming season. So it's a big career year for him in terms of what level as a professional does he end up playing. He had a great start with Antwerp, moves here to the French league, which, from a league perspective is a step up, and he's got an opportunity. He's got all the tools. He's got the physical attributes. He's got good touch. He's got good athleticism. He appears to have a real good understanding of his role. So, and he's in a great program now with a very good coach. So he's got a huge opportunity. And looking at Chasson, who does understand week in, week out, and Julien understands that, they're the type of guys that he's going to really benefit from being around. And I think it's a good move for him. It's a good move. It's a great piece of recruitment, I think, for Dijon.
Okay, these are the referees for today's game. Alexander Glizic from Serbia in the middle, Saverio Lanzarini on the left from Italy, and Martins Kozlauskas from Latvia on the right. So good. I don't really, haven't really had any issues, honestly, with the job that all of the referees have been doing. I think it's been a good performance for them. Of course, you can see that with Zaragoza, they're not going to have Rashid Suleiman, who was injured in their semifinal, but hopefully it won't be serious. But anyway, Diego Ocampo is going to start with Nicholas Brasina, Robin Benzing, Rodrigo San Miguel, Dylan Ennis, and Trygve Helenissen today. So some changes in that starting lineup. Helenissen is actually going to start at the pivot instead of Jason Thompson. And I wonder if that has something to do with the foul trouble that Thompson has been getting into. And you cannot, you know, talking about this team being run over the other day by Ike, I'll tell you what, DJ Seeley was really just as good as anybody in that Ike lineup. I mean, he did not take a backseat to anybody.
No, he was very good.
Obviously, with Brasino, he's had his moments.
I mean, those two in particular, to be unfair perhaps to say those two were the two players that really played at the same level as the opponent, but it's true, they were at that level, they were able to compete. And interesting move, as you highlighted, Jeff, with Ocampo going with Hilnason on the inside, because I think combination of the fact that Thompson has and is like a foul magnet at the moment. He's just picking up fouls in all the wrong places. But also, I think that it's also an indication of relatively how well both players have played, because Hilnason has been very good, and it gives them that the stability on the inside to build your team from, and it's a remarkable development for him over the last season or so. It's good to see him start.
So Chase Simon, Hans van Wijn, Jacques Alinge, David Holston, and Axel Julien are going to be in the starting 5 for JDA Dijon. And again, we talked about Van Wijn, and he actually gets into the starting lineup tonight. And we've already highlighted Julien. He had, like, I think it was in his opening game against Turk Telekom, he hit his first 4 3-pointers. Just had a real let's go get him attitude in that game, and I think he too has really demonstrated he's taken a step forward, just like this young man, Alexandre Chassin, who really has stepped up his game. Well, just solid.
Jeff,
maybe
so right.
Doesn't score as much, but he's still tough.
Yeah, you're so right, Jeff. I mean, I think the key for Dijon in those two, the Chasson and Julien have played up to their numbers. In fact, Julien is over his numbers for the regular season. And those two are 2 of the 3 that they have built success around, and then their march to the final.
On top of Casademont Zaragoza.
Well, the stats obviously from the 3-point line, Dijon way below their norm, but that's because Julien has missed from the 3-point line. But the big story for Dijon is that David Holston is at the game tonight. So is Julien, and so is Chasson. You add Van Wijn to that, and most of the component parts are all present and accounted for Dijon. So that's a great start for them. And then you need Johnson and Chase Simon to give them that points production coming off the bench. But going the other way, Thompson, even though he's turned it over a few times for Zaragoza, has responded well to not starting, hasn't picked a foul up, has scored, has been a bit of a presence. So this is really setting up nicely. Sometimes, third place games, not everybody's cup of tea, but when they're played by teams who have approached it the way these two have, and both coaches wanting to get that bronze medal finish, this one's set up nicely.
The final will...
Jeff, you talked about Brasino and his consistency. Apart from that first half in the quarterfinal game where he got into a little foul trouble really early, he has been the guy that Zaragoza have been able to count on. Both ends of the floor, he's done a nice job at taking the shots that he knows he can make. He attacks the closeout really well there. 7 points, 50% from the field. If there is a complaint, perhaps maybe they should find him more, because his numbers warrant him taking more shots.
Definitely got the talent, there's no doubt about it. And for Dijon, we were singing the praises of Chasson, and Hans van Wijn has actually outscored him in this first half. He got the start tonight, fresh over from Antwerp last season. Does most of his damage around the basket. Does have the ability to step outside and hit a three-pointer.
Well, he's a handful. If he's running the four where he started, you know, he's going to be guarded by someone like Robin Benzing, and he's definitely got the foot speed to go past someone like Benzing. If he can keep working on that the three, he's going to become a real handful, because you're going to have to honor the three. And if you honor the three, that quickness he has the opportunity to exploit, and he's got quick feet, as he shows you there. And this is a nice new step for him in his pro career.
And if Nimber can keep this thing manageable, here we go again, and the dunk! And that's going to fire him up. Boy, he has got some elevation, doesn't he, folks? Look at this. So the Burgos lead now 10 points. Pappas, beautiful pass from him, and Mitrovic makes it. Horton really was in decent position to challenge the shot. Corpus again. Oh, nice move by Corpus. Impressive. And Benzing follows up his miss, takes the foul, and he's got a chance for a three-point play. Dish and the dunk. So Alenge puts his imprint on this game. He's played well tonight. McFadden, meanwhile, feeling it, his third three-pointer of the game. Take the lead. Bryce steps back, count it, and they take the lead. Which is nice to see. Oh, what a block. Backs up Salim. Some help from Bogers, and he gets it to the big thunderous Lenison for the dunk. Boy, how about that for some authority? Down low he goes, and the basket is good from Rokopopoulos. Beautiful bounce pass.
Oh, super pass. Three defenders, he just put it there.
There's Laurent Legnon, the coach, and I suppose this could be a challenge for a coach to get his team up for a third-place game. A team that had designs on going all the way, but they were definitely the underdogs, I think, going into all of their games. They know they're going to get out of here with at least one win, and they might get out of here, Mark, with 2 wins if this first half score holds up.
But if you were going to put me on the spot a little bit, Jeff, I would say that they'll get the win if the game stays the same way, being played the same way. I think they'll get the win because Julien is not going to be as cold in the second half as he was in the first. That's going to be almost as feels as though every single call is going against Panathinaikos, and 25 or 4 or whatever it is, 1,000 people are better referees than the actual guys with the whistles. And they've had some great players here playing with some unbelievable emotional ride. It's an emotional ride, and obviously the other big games are your traditional Panathinaikos, Olympiacos derbies in this arena. I think even though I think it's one of the big arenas where unusually you feel as though you have the crowd coming out of the seats at you. It's just a phenomenal atmosphere. So any of those games with those people involved, it's just the feel of this arena, I think, is phenomenal.
I'm sure you want to ask me what mine is.
I was just about to say, Jeff, I was just about to say that Olympics and everything else, you covered so many games that must have been here, you know, far more than me.
I have a lot of memories.
Must be more, whether it be national team or club. I mean, you must have some great ones.
I always enjoy going to Athens, honestly, first of all, because I find the journalists here very knowledgeable about basketball, European basketball, and especially about their Greek team. So it's always great to run into these guys, whether it's news media, you know, print or online or TV. Everybody's got an opinion. And but no, I mean, the thing is, the 2004 Olympics for me was the best Olympics ever. So that was on this home floor with Argentina winning in the final against Italy, that great Italy team. Yeah. Of course, USA winning against Lithuania in the bronze game. Dirk Nowitzki, 2008 FIBA Olympic qualifying tournament. That was sensational. He was unbelievable as usual. And then I remember quite vividly, you know, in year 2, the Queen, i.e. Ike, winning the title, and seeing those fans here was, I don't know, you just felt like you're in a different world. There was so much noise and passion. I mean, it was, you find your attention being drawn away from the court sometimes to look at the crowd because they're so boisterous and supportive. So yeah, it really has been a terrific place to watch many different types of leagues and basketball games and national team competitions.
I 100% Jeff about the crowd here. I do think, one, the knowledge, as you say, the knowledge of the people in this country about basketball, their passion for it and everything else, but you do feel as though everyone in the whole city has an opinion. Everyone in the whole city would like talk to you about it. And if you go back to those Olympics that you mentioned,
it just doesn't give the referee any credit whatsoever.
No.
You know, if you're going to question it, you know, it doesn't. It's just ridiculous, really. Anyway.
What we are doing right now, let the referees, now they don't call.
See, the thing is, Jeff, Zaragoza is 6 down with the basketball, and Thompson thinks he was hit in the back, so he throws an elbow. They make the 2 free throws, they make a 3. They've got 2 to come, and they're going to be 13 down. All on the back, as you know, pretty much as a consequence of Dijon finally starting to get going from the 3-point line as Julien made that last 3. But Zaragoza, I thought, started that second half, started the third quarter really well. And, you know, just to re-emphasize the point, they had all the momentum going their way. The unsportsmanlike foul, the 2 free throws, and then the 3 from Holston just doubled the lead. And from that point on, Dijon has just looked a little bit more comfortable. Now they've got Julien going from the 3-point line, and then an additional technical on Ocampo hasn't helped the cause. And the disappointing thing that's really underlined is that Thompson in particular was doing very well. Probably the best he's played in this whole Final 8 weekend. And then ruined, if you want, the impact he was having with the unsportsmanlike foul. Still plenty of time. But now that Julien's got going, Dijon have got the 3 best 3 leading guys going in terms of Julien, Holston, and Chasson, and they're getting great support. Van Wen's giving them support. Simon's really starting to light it up. So it's been a really good performance by the French club. But Zaragoza have found a way. So that'll be a Dijon, no, that'll be a Zaragoza timeout after the May 3, yeah.
So we've got a game. Exciting stuff. It took a while for Casademont Zaragoza to show up to the party, but now that they have, the music has gone up very loud, and look at that. Their numbers have improved inside the arc, 12 of 28. But they've also done damage at the free throw line.
Yeah, I'm just still sitting here, Jeff. I cannot understand that. I'm assuming that Konate got it really happy. Very happy.
I think so. I mean, obviously every team comes here to win it all, but I think from Dijon's standpoint, there was a mixture of hope and optimism, but at the same time balanced by realism, or being realistic. And I think they're going to be happy with the fact that they've won 2 of their 3 games. You know, they came from behind on opening night against Turk Telecom. They got into the semifinal and guaranteed themselves the top 4 spot. And lo and behold, they come out and they win the 3rd place game. So, you know, certainly a great accomplishment when you consider what the whole entire season was like in the Basketball Champions League, how tough it was. And as we've talked about, you know, JDA Dijon, I mean, they could be poised to have a great season. This is going to help them, but it is going to be a very tough Basketball Champions League. I think. Wow. Yeah. I think it's going to be the toughest competition ever, judging from just looking at the teams that are going to be involved this season.
100%. Well, we always said it gets better every year, and yeah, I don't think qualification for the playoffs is going to be incredibly competitive.
So Ike now going to play in the final. Well, overall solid effort from some of the players like Brasino for all 3 games for Zaragoza, but Dijon they gave themselves that great platform to get the win today with that solid start. They went up by as many as 14 points in the second half. It was a good effort, really, in the end by Zaragoza to come back late in the contest, led by this man right here, Dylan Ennis. Did a lot of his damage at the free throw line, but look at him, he was just a menace defensively, and Fun Wine just cannot fall asleep in that situation, guarded by an athlete, someone with as much savvy as Ennis, because he's going to have his pockets picked. Excuse me. It will be interesting to watch Zaragoza as they move into the season. And I mean, what do you think is their biggest issue, Mark, real quickly, ahead of this season, going in terms of, like, you know, improvement?
Zaragoza?
Yeah.
I think they're going to struggle there. I think that if I'm being really harsh on very good players, Brasino's a great player. I think maybe that they need a little bit more athleticism from the 3. But I think they're just a very solid technical. Well, I'll tell you what I think they really miss, Jeff. I think that where they had Alisson at the point last year, the young, I think one of the best talents around.
Oh, wait, no, I think he was he with Manresa?
No,
or was he with Zaragoza? Okay.
Yeah, was with Zaragoza. I think they're. I think they miss that. I think they miss some creativity in that way. I think they're very technical. I think they've got people who can really shoot the ball. But he gave them a little bit of creativity that I think they. Against a team like Dijon, you know, sometimes they got a little stuck. And Innes is the guy that can break it down, and Sealy is the guy that can break it down. But I'm not sure they have enough creativity at the point, and they struggle on the inside. They've got some great shooters, though.
We'll stick around for the final, folks. Casademont Zaragoza coming up just short today against JDA Dijon, who win the 3rd place game. The final between San Pablo Burgos and Ike is coming up next.